Welcome to the Good Boy Podcast, the monthly dog storytelling podcast. I am your host, Ilya Alexeyev, and today I am joined once again with my brother Dima. Hey, Dima.
Hey.
So, I had Ian on the past few episodes with a kind of mini collection of episodes. I don't know how to frame it better, but basically, the idea was the dog days of summer, and we were kind of just talking about like different topics surrounding a dog, not quite the traditional interview episodes. And so this is for August 2020, so we're still in the summer here. And so I have you to hopefully round up that little collection of the dog days of summer. And we talked about picking up poop, we talked about feeding the dogs, stuff Ian likes.
Yeah.
But today, we are going to talk about throwing the ball to the dog. That's the topic. So, right off the bat, you a fan of throwing the ball to the dog?
Yeah, growing up, I always wanted a dog that would catch the ball. My first two dogs, they just didn't care about balls at all. So when I finally got Mikey, who was obsessed with tennis balls, I really enjoyed it at first, and then I got tired of it.
Yeah, so I was in the same boat, and obviously we're brothers, we grew up together, but I had the same exact idea where it's like I remember saying, like, at least in my head, like, I just want a dog I can throw the ball to. And then we got one, and then that's all he wanted for years.
Yeah, probably for
literal years.
Like 9 years.
9 years. And especially those early years, nonstop. So shortly before we got Mikey, we had gotten a sliding door. And that sliding door made a huge difference. Like the sliding door to the backyard. Because we had like our TV room, which leads to the backyard. And so you could be watching TV, and then he'd bring you the ball and you could throw it. Like, it didn't have to be you didn't have to be as an active participant as being out in the backyard and throwing the ball. But so why do you like throwing the ball to the dog?
I mean, they like it so much, and just their happiness is like, it's contagious, and yeah, it's it doesn't really make sense to me why they would love it so much. I mean, it's probably some hunting thing that they have programmed into them, but I don't know. They're just enjoying themselves. This is like them playing, So it's just, if I can, it's so easy for me to throw a ball, Why wouldn't I do it?
Yeah, and so I definitely see it kind of tapping into some sort of hunting sense. What's the word I'm thinking of? Whatever. Something in their brain about hunting, so they like to chase the ball. And I think what is very satisfying is you throwing them and them catching it too. Like, I feel like that's like a different element. I mean, there's just you throwing the ball, them chasing it and grabbing it, but if you can get in some catches in there as well, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it feels complete. We grew up playing sports and stuff. We would just be in the backyard playing catch, with each other. And so, like, having the dog who, I've seen plenty of videos. I've seen plenty of dogs in person. Not all dogs have the same ability of catching the ball.
Yeah, like Dewey,
even if they're young, they're just not as good or whatever.
Well, I mean, like, I think Dewey was bad at catching regardless, but it's just he had age on his side too.
Yeah, so but regardless of the ability of catching, there's just the fun in chasing after something, bringing it back, and it really young dogs just have that energy where they need to exert it, expel it somehow, and so that's a great way to do it. And so I guess primarily, like, the best ball is like a tennis ball or some sort of
something that
dog
bounces.
like dog toy equivalent that's maybe more durable, but that size and having it round is like the perfect size for the dog. So I mean, with Mikey, we threw like a kids football, which he liked.
Yeah, he loved the football. He loved just carrying a football in his mouth when he like got it. I'm sorry to jump in, but Mikey was terrible at dropping the ball. He would grab it and then never drop it. It was hard for him to give up. So we actually invented this technique of like, well, first we had 2 tennis balls, and then we found out quickly that he can fit 2 tennis balls in his mouth, and so he started carrying 2 tennis balls, and so we started throwing 2 tennis balls, and then we had to do 3 tennis balls where we'd switch one out. And
yeah, so the system was he would have 2. So you'd throw one, he would chase it. You'd throw another, he would trap it. Like he couldn't catch the second one while holding the first, but he would track it down, trap it, then pick it up. But then if you had the third ball, he would drop both of them and go after the third ball. So there's that kind of system. But then he also, I don't know if he liked the football because he saw it less, it was bigger, whatever the reason was, but he would drop the tennis ball for the football.
yeah.
And the football was a completely different element because he could not catch that obviously the same way as a human could.
I mean,
right?
he could. There's
He
video.
could catch it. I mean, he could catch it, but he'd be catching it from the side, and not the best. That's not the best way to catch a football. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how a dog could catch a football because that's their body. But something about the football he liked more, and so that made a great thing.
Well,
Like,
we also like wrestled the football out of his mouth, and he loved tug of war.
well, part of that happened because he got a football we didn't want him to have.
Yeah.
But that's on us. That's not on him. So yeah, that's a good element too, where with the bigger ball like a football is you can kind of do like the tug of war-esque thing without a tug of war type toy. So there's also that element in it as well. Now, he did not chase the Frisbee. I don't know how you get dogs to chase Frisbee. He chased after it like 2 times, didn't have any interest in.
Well, like, he would
Picking
trap
it.
it, and then he didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, he didn't really quite know how to pick it up. Or would he like push it around the backyard with his nose?
He did. He did, yeah.
So we're not going to really talk about Frisbees, but the tennis ball is supremely important. And, him being a bigger dog, he would break them.
Yeah,
He would destroy 'em.
When he got tired, he would just chew on them and then pop them and then just eat the tennis ball, basically.
Yeah. And so we went through a lot of tennis balls. And so I remember this probably wasn't like the first day we got him, but we also play tennis, so we had a lot of tennis balls. This was fairly early on in when we had him, was that we had like a huge box of tennis balls and we just like let them all out, and he was just going crazy going up and smelling them. Because that was the other thing, is like he had some sort of like ranking metric, which one he would hold in the front, like deeper in his mouth, which one he would hold in the front. But the tennis ball, great toy for the dog.
Yeah, and it's also portable. You could take it to like the beach or the park and play with them.
Yeah, and it's like so the other thing, yeah, the beach or whatever. I mean, we did that, and it's like if you lose it at the beach, a dog friendly beach, another dog will find it eventually. So it's not like some expensive other toy.
We found plenty of tennis balls at the beach.
We found plenty. We probably left some. Like it's like a take a penny, leave a penny type thing. And so like I guess like the dog park too, where dogs play different way, but his kind of he was really locked in on chasing it and catching it. And so like at the dog park we could throw it way further. So like in our backyard, just because of the size, like he could run about as far as we could throw it, and so he could catch it. Like but the dog park was much bigger, so we could throw it farther than he could run and catch it. So we would throw it really far, and so we'd throw it and he would track it down and come all the way back. And so yeah, like I wonder, like, yeah, there's definitely that hunting kind of pedigree, I guess, of wanting to chase it.
Well, what's interesting is, like, I mean, some dogs they'll like the competition of another dog chasing after their tennis ball, like that's fun for them. But Mikey, like, he did not like any dog interacting with him when he was on his mission to chase the tennis ball.
Yeah, that was like his thing. That was how he played, and it's a great way to get your dog in shape. I mean, like, dogs need to be walked for the exercise and the stimulus of going out, but like, just think of you just sprinting, and like sprinting's a great way to burn a lot of calories in a short amount of time. Great way to build muscle. And so yeah, like we needed to do that because
We couldn't
he
run.
had so much energy, and it's easier than training a dog how to run with someone. And so yeah, the tennis ball, I remember sometimes, like, we would find the tennis ball in the street while walking him, and then we'd kind of like show him, and he would get all excited.
Well, at first when he was very young, he would pick them up and he would steal toys from dogs or kids or whatever
that were left on their front yards
or the sidewalk or whatever, and we'd let him. We weren't smart, but we would just take it. We'd let him take it. That's probably not the best, thing to do, but
it's okay because the statute of limitations is now over for a dog taking a tennis ball, so I think we're safe. But I think that's primarily it I have to say, other than, like, they really like it. I mean,
I will say this: when we went to parks and beaches, Mikey would drop the ball. He would listen to us right away, whereas we were at home, he would be like a stubborn jerk.
I think that's kind of like on us, though. Like, we should have been better at training him.
But I mean, he I don't know. He knew what he knew in public.
He knew the stakes, right? Like, there's a big ocean right there, so it's like I gotta listen. Yeah, the beach was great for him to run too because it's much softer.
And he loved the water, and
yeah, and so, like, our other dog, who we've had like really any experience with the ball, Dewey, is he would like the ball, but he
just would get distracted.
Would he really chase it? I'm trying to remember.
No, you would have to throw it directly to him.
But would he chase it?
Yeah, if he missed it, he would go after it for a little bit.
Okay, but even early on, it wasn't like you threw him the ball in the backyard and he would run after it, right?
Yeah, no.
So, yeah, that's probably got to be just how his kind of exposure to, like, playing, like, that's how he kind of grew up playing. Like, that was it. He probably had a small backyard or wasn't taken to the park to play. Yeah, and so I guess throwing the ball, like, in the dog park scenario is, some dogs just like being like, they don't like going after the ball. They just want to be running, like, be part of the excitement.
The pack, yeah.
Yeah, so they'll run, like, they'll see one dog chasing after the ball, and then they'll follow two. Like, even if they aren't that fast.
Yeah.
Like, there is the competition for the ball, but then there's also the dogs who are just there for the journey.
I just thought it was funny that, like, we'd tire Mikey so much out that he would have to, like, drink water lying down. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Well, he was relentless. Don't try to make it seem like we were pushing him too hard. Like, that's what he wanted. But what was funny is he'd get tired and he'd bring the tennis ball
and just drop it.
And drop it in the water bowl.
And so the water would just turn black.
It would turn, like, all muddy and dirty and gross, and
we'd have to
it was and also I was thinking at the dog park.
Well, we saw that we'd replace the water.
Yeah. So it's like dump the water and put it. But it's just funny, like he's still carrying it, even though he's like tired and trying to he's breathing heavier, right? Like he's still got to carry that ball. Like that is his prized possession. Do you have any other like final thoughts, like other dogs who you've thought that you can think of who you've seen chase the ball? I mean, like Glenn, who talked about Munch.
Yeah. That was like the only other dog I could think of.
He chased a toy, not necessarily a ball, but he would like catching it.
Yeah, he loved catching it.
Any other ones? Any of our other friends?
No, basically we were never really exposed to a dog catching stuff until we were adults.
And then we got sick of it.
Yeah.
We got sick of throwing the ball. Okay, so yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, it's relatively short, but I just think it's like, yeah, this is cool. They like it. There's not much deeper to say. It's fun. It's fun throwing it out there, and it's satisfying getting the catch. Especially when Mike would jump up. I wish I had like the iPhone slow-mo stuff we have now, like back then.
Yeah.
We could have got all sorts of cool videos of him.
We didn't have smartphones back then.
Well, it didn't even matter. They couldn't record that slow.
Yeah.
They didn't have the slow-mo. Duma trying to make us look bad.
I'm just saying, we had an iPac.
Nobody knows what that is except us. But yeah, like continuously having like this cool slow-mo videos just make it better and better for dog videos. I think people like dog videos. What do you think?
Yeah.
Great. Well, Dima, thanks for joining me on another episode here. Relatively short one. Thank you, the listener, for listening. Please share the show with anyone you know, friends, family, coworkers. Let's see, your plumber. Who else could people share it with?
The neighbor across the street.
Your neighbor. Let's see, who else? Oh, I can't think of anyone else right now. But please share it. That's the best way to spread awareness of it, word of mouth. Also, rating it or subscribing to it wherever you do that. So, rating it on iTunes. Please give it 5 stars on there. That's really important for it being like placement of it when people search for stuff. Subscribing wherever you can, or liking, or whatever the site or platform has. The show's available on all major podcast platforms, as well as YouTube. In YouTube, follow the Good Boy Podcast Instagram at the Good Boy Pod. Fun time over there, growing pretty well over there. Lots of fun stuff. So thank you if you are following there. And I think that's about it. Thanks for listening, and keep petting those dogs.